Hello, everyone. This is James again. As some of you may know, I did a video on the 2016 presidential results based on the polls, assuming that if the election results would have just been based on the polls, who would have won the election. I felt that the video was too drawn out, and I did all the states, and so I just wanted to kind of simplify the video. We all know what states vote Republican and what states vote Democrat, and we all know who would poll what, or have a very good idea of which states would poll where. So what I decided to do was draw in some of the red states and the blue states that we knew for sure that would poll Republican or Democrat. Okay, and then I'm going to fill out the rest of the states based on where the polls stood for 2016. So if you haven't watched this video, the last video I deleted. This video, because I know a lot of conservatives and even some liberals were talking about, well, the polls were wrong and Hillary Clinton would have won if the polls were correct, and Donald Trump actually ended up winning but was losing in the polls. Okay, and so we all know that the election is decided by the states, the 50 states, and it's decided by the Electoral College. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to kind of redo this video a little bit to kind of simplify it and shorten the length of it. But this is just if the 2016 election would have happened and the results were based on the polls, would Hillary Clinton win? Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead state by state, the ones I haven't colored in yet, tell you who was winning in the polls just before the election. Okay, and I'll go ahead and whoever was winning in that poll, I would color code it. Okay, and if it was a tie, then I'll just give it to the winner. So Nevada and North Carolina were actually ties. Okay, those are the two states that were tied. And so Clinton won Nevada and Trump won North Carolina. So I'm just going to give it to those. Okay, it's a tie, it can go either way. Okay, and so now I'm going to color the rest of the map based on how they polled just before the election, and we're going to see how accurate the polls really were. Okay, so without further ado, I'm just going to start from west to east. This makes it much easier for everybody to kind of color code everything. So the state of Alaska, Clinton was actually up by 4 points. Okay, this state has gone Republican for as long as I was living, but for some weird reason, Clinton was up in that state. Okay, and so in the state of Arizona, Trump had a 2-point lead. So I'm going to give it to Trump. That's how that works, okay? And we're just going to move on. The state of New Mexico, okay? New Mexico, Clinton had a 2-point lead in New Mexico, so I would give it to Clinton. And in the state of Colorado, Clinton had a 5-point lead. Okay, so that's how that goes. I'm just doing it based on the polling. Okay, not based on the actual results. I'm doing it based on the polling and see if that would have shifted the election. In the state of Texas, Trump had a 14-point lead. Okay, in the state of Iowa, Trump had a 7-point lead. In the state of Minnesota, Clinton had a 10-point lead. In the state of Wisconsin, Clinton had an 8-point lead. In the state of Michigan, Trump had a 2-point lead. Okay. In the state of Ohio, Trump had a 7-point lead. In the state of, I'm going to go down to Florida. In the state of Florida, Trump had a 4-point lead. In the state of Georgia, Trump had a 7-point lead. In the state of Virginia, Clinton had a 6-point lead. In the state of Pennsylvania, Clinton had a 6-point lead. In the state of New Hampshire, Clinton had a 11-point lead. Okay? That was the result right there. Trump would have won the election despite the polls. Okay? There's only 3 states where the polls are inaccurate. And those were the state of Alaska. Trump won that state. The state of Wisconsin, Trump won that state as well. And the state of Pennsylvania, Trump won that state. Okay? The polls were accurate as far as predicting the winner. The polls were accurate in 47 out of 50 states. And so, with that in mind, the election would not have changed based on the polling being incorrect. The polling was correct. The election prediction was correct. Okay? So, my point is that the conservatives are talking about right now the polling being so terrible. And in 2016, Hillary was supposed to win and she lost. And I remember both parties were saying that Hillary was supposed to win, but not based on the polls. I looked it up. The polls were accurate in 47 out of 50 states. Okay? They were accurate. And so this is now, I will say that it does sway towards the Democrats because out of the 3 states that were incorrect, Clinton won them all. Okay? I mean, Trump won them all, but Clinton was favored. Okay? But it wouldn't have swayed the election. Okay? Trump was ahead. 273 electoral votes. It's that simple. Okay? So, when you talk about the polls being wrong, sometimes they are wrong. But this is one of the most, as far as polling is concerned, the 2016 election was one of the most lopsided polls ever. And they were right on 47 out of 50 states. So Trump should have won. And he did win. And so now, in 2020, what I'm going to do is the day before the election, I'm going to do another election prediction. And it's going to be based on the poll differences. If you see my 3rd video that I posted, based on right now, Biden would win the election. Okay? And a great example is Florida. Trump was ahead by 4 points in Florida. In 2016, he won by 1.2 points. He underperformed in Florida. Okay? Right now, Biden has an 8-point lead. So based on the mathematics and based on the numbers, Biden would win the state of Florida. That's a prime example. Unless things change, it's not looking good for Trump. Like and subscribe to my channel. And any comments that you wish to provide and any feedback would be great. Thank you.